What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and yes guys, I am back with another video soon after I just released another one. So that's what consistency looks like, and you know what, I'm a big fan of consistency. Now let's get into the next video, guys, because I will be talking about the NBA Finals. That time has finally come, guys. The NBA Finals is here. Now, if you've been living under a rock the last couple of weeks and you've completely missed what's been going on with the NBA, the Warriors are in the finals for the 5th time in a row, while Toronto makes their first ever finals appearance. First ever finals appearance for them, guys. Congratulations to Toronto first and foremost. As a sports channel, I will try to be as unbiased as possible, but it's kind of hard to do that because I realized I am wearing a Warriors jacket. But without further ado, let's get into the video. I'm going to be talking about the matchups, basically just breaking down what do I expect from the game itself, the outcome, my prediction pretty much, and what kind of series are we going to get. Now, both teams have had kind of different routes to get here. Now, the Warriors finished first overall in the West, while Toronto finished second overall in the East. But even though Toronto finished second overall in the East and the Warriors first in the West, Toronto had a better overall record than the Warriors did. So that means they get home court advantage for the first 2 games of the finals, which can make a pretty big significant difference just because home court advantage is very, very important. Now, the reason I say that is, imagine you're in Toronto, never been in a finals before, and your fans are electric, guys. You're going to have a packed arena. Drake's going to be there again, of course, because Drake is just like the ambassador of the Raptors. I'm pretty sure he'll be there to get the crowd hyped up, maybe do a halftime performance I've been hearing, I don't know, or something like that. But just the atmosphere is going to be electric. It's going to be ridiculous. And if Toronto can protect home court as great as they can, as hard as they can, then they can make the series pretty interesting. Now, for the Warriors, yeah, you're going on the road. It's going to be a lot more difficult to play, especially because you haven't played in over a week. It's going to be a little difficult, but at the same time, the expectations that the Warriors have is to win the series, of course. But to be honest, you don't have to win the series in the first game. And what I mean by that is because Toronto has not been in the finals before. We don't know how they're going to adapt to that pressure, but being at home will probably relax them a little bit more. With the Warriors having been there 5 straight years, they kind of know what they're getting into. I believe this is the first time they're starting on the road for the finals. I may be wrong, but just they've been there before. It's a been there, done that situation. They know what to expect. They know what the finals is like. The atmosphere, of course, is going to be crazy, but I expect them to win at least 1 game in Toronto and then come back to Warriors ground in Oracle and take a pretty comfortable lead after that. And what I mean by that is, if we can steal 1 game, we being the Warriors can steal 1 game in Toronto and come back tied 1-1, then I feel like it's ball in our court because now we have the home court advantage, and now Toronto has to come to our home. We are pretty comfortable. Yeah, we haven't had the best home record that we could have had over the last couple months, but it's still Oracle. It's still Warriors ground, and that's where the Warriors thrive. Our fans here are pretty great. Probably some of the best fans in the whole league, hands down, and that's just me being a little biased. But I tried to say I'm not going to be biased, but I'm trying. But home court advantage is something that's going to be very critical in this series, just because Toronto needs to settle down. They need to get their head in the game because they haven't been here before. Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green on Toronto have been there before with the Spurs, so they could probably guide their team to figure out what's going to happen. But with the Warriors, steal 1 game and the ball is in your court. Personnel-wise, it's looking a little suspect right now just because the Warriors don't have Kevin Durant and we still don't have Boogie Cousins. Boogie Cousins went down the first game against the Clippers, and it was a little rough touch and go for the meantime because we kind of expected him not to be around for the rest of the playoffs and probably just end his Warriors career as it went right there. But there are rumors speculating that he will return for the finals. Now, if that happens or not, I mean, I'm okay if he does. I'm okay if he doesn't, just because we don't know what he's like now. I mean, he's gone through the Achilles injury, and he was looking pretty good after that. And then now this quad tendon tear, it's a little suspect, to be honest with you guys. If we do get Boogie Cousins back for the finals, I could see him running some minutes with the second team, which wouldn't be a bad thing, just because I feel like our bench is playing pretty well right now. We did really well against the Rockets. We did really well against Portland, especially after KD went down with his quad strain, and unfortunately we still have no timetable on his return. He could be back by game 3 depending on how the series goes. I think if Toronto takes an early 1-0 lead, KD might be able to come back. It just depends on the whole matchup and how he's feeling, and are we quick to rush him back in. But if we win game 1, then I really feel like it's no pressure on bringing him back for game 2, and I would rather have him fully recovered for game 3 and 4, because that's where it's going to be really important for us to actually get those 2 home wins to carry on the series. Now, for Toronto, on the other hand, it's a little touch and go, just because their core group of starters is looking pretty good right now with Kawhi Leonard and Kyle Lowry, of course, leading that backcourt, and Marc Gasol is actually making a pretty big impact on the glass. Siakam, I mean, this guy is pretty dangerous if we give him the time and the space. Same thing with Fred VanVleet. I mean, this guy came out of nowhere just hitting threes like they're nothing. He looks like he could be the 4th Splash brother when it comes to hitting threes like that. Danny Green has been a little bit on a slump. When it comes to things like that, I feel like the Raptors are going to have to rely very, very heavily on Kawhi Leonard. The last couple of games he's been playing over 35 minutes a game with a bad ankle, that might add. I mean, he's kind of like Iron Man right now. He's kind of just playing through it, not really caring that much. But, I mean, he's doing it somehow. But to rely that heavily on a player like that with a bum ankle could cost you in the long run. But they're going to need their bench to step up pretty hard right now, just because you don't want to rely heavily on one player to carry you, because what if that one player isn't doing its job, or they're not being able to carry the team? I mean, if you have to rely on your bench and on your secondary squad, it's going to look a little rough, especially in the finals. On the other hand, with the Warriors, I mean, we haven't had the best bench throughout the whole year. We just got some late surges through them over the last couple of weeks, which has been really great. But at the same time, they're a bench that has been really inconsistent and can turn off just like that. It's pretty rough, just because we have like some Quinn Cook, who had a pretty good year last year, but we figured out his weaknesses. He can't really defend on the ball. He's a liability off the ball, and he's a spot-up shooter like the rest of the league is adapting to, but at the same time, I mean, he's an extra body that we can use, but it's going to be kind of hard to fit him in the rotation. Alfonso McKinney has been really great on the offensive glass. Jerebko, I mean, is probably one of my favorite players this year off the Warriors bench. Kevon Looney, probably our best player off the bench on the side of Sean Livingston and Andre Iguodala, who do their thing on a nightly basis. Those guys are reliable as they can be. If Andre Iguodala isn't on the starting rotation, then off the bench he's going to be really great. I mean, who else do we have? I mean, it's kind of hard to name other players to bring into the rotation like that, because it's kind of difficult right now. I mean, I'm not going to lie, we relied pretty heavily on Kevin Durant over the last couple of weeks, but since he's gone down with that injury, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson have taken the reins, and with Steph Curry averaging over 35 points over the last couple of days, and Klay Thompson being a little streaky here and there, he gets some good games and then he gets some bad ones. It's touch and go with him, but I mean, he's still an overall great defender, probably one of the best two-way players in the league next to Kawhi Leonard. We still have Draymond Green though, who has been averaging a triple-double over the last 4 games. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty ridiculous, because we've always known Draymond to be that war machine for us, who will take charge and can control the game if we need him to. But we know he can't really score. He's been hitting some threes lately, but I'm not going to be relying on those. But the rebounds, the assists, the whole defensive work that he does is completely underrated. I'm surprised he didn't make any NBA All-Team this year. But, I mean, when you're playing for the Warriors and you have All-Stars and MVPs on your team, it's going to be kind of hard to get some recognition. But he is easily my favorite player in the league right now, my favorite player on the Warriors, and our big X factor when it comes to this series. He's going to be the player that we're going to rely on heavily to guard Kawhi Leonard, to probably even guard Marc Gasol, to be honest with you guys. My biggest thing, though, that we don't play enough into is the experience factor. Now, of course, the Raptors are a team that lately has been in the playoffs year in and year out. They've made the Eastern Conference Finals last year. They made the finals this year. Year before last, they probably still made the playoffs and made a pretty decent run. But the finals is a different monster. Now, think about it. This is at least the last 4 games you will possibly play of the season, and it's pretty much a whole speculation of win or go home type of feel. Just because you have to have that confidence in yourself, especially being a finals, that you have to rely on what got you there. Don't be that team that all of a sudden tries to switch things up and tries to get cute and fancy, because you will end up like the Warriors in 2016 with Curry going behind the back and losing the ball in a pretty crucial moment, which kind of, I don't want to say cost us a final, because we were up 3-1. When you do that type of stuff where you're not being consistent and you're not being you, that can cost either team their whole shot at a title. Now, for both teams, like, for example, the Warriors, they've been there for the last 5 years. They know what to expect. They know what they're getting into. They have the players to back it up. They have the players to know what's going to happen. They have the players there that are saying, you know what, we will take control of it, because they have 4 or 5 guys that have been on that roster since the first time they were in the finals that can say, we know what to do, we will guide you guys. On the other hand, with the Raptors, yeah, they have really great playoff experience, but they don't have that final experience. Kawhi Leonard, Danny Green, good for you guys. You guys have won a championship. You guys have been to the finals 2 years. Now it's time to show these young guys who you guys are supposed to be in the finals, who you guys are supposed to play like in the finals. Just be you. I mean, I can't be the one to say that they should be playing a certain way, because I mean, I have no experience. I shouldn't be talking. I'm just a guy who makes videos on a camera at home. But they're a team that lacks experience, yes, but are a good group of guys to be around. And I mean, to be honest with you guys, I was kind of rooting for them in the Eastern Conference Finals, just because they were a team I would like to see make it to the finals for the first time in forever, pretty much. But now that they're in the finals, of course, I do want the Warriors to win. I do think the Warriors are going to win, but I do think Toronto's going to make this an interesting game. Now, I don't recommend them relying very heavily on Kawhi Leonard, just because he's going to be a guy who, of course, is going to get you minutes, is going to get you points, is going to get you rebounds, is going to make the whole team better. But, of course, you shut one guy down, which is going to be pretty hard to do, but if you do shut one guy down, that being Kawhi Leonard, you're going to rely on the rest of your team, which isn't a bad thing, because Kyle Lowry can still get hot at any time. Fred VanVleet, like I said before, is still hitting threes like it's nothing. Marc Gasol is still getting you really great efficiency off the glass. So he's going to be a guy to watch as well. He's probably going to be the X factor for the Raptors. So all in all, guys, I just want to say that this is going to be a really great finals to watch. I am going to try and soak it in as much as possible, because, to be honest with you guys, I don't think this is going to be a reoccurring trend for us. I mean, we've made it to the finals 5 years in a row. That's great. I can't explain to you guys enough what the feeling is to have your team make it year after year after year after year. Like, we're on the verge of a three-peat here. It's something great, something historic, something that hasn't been done since the early 2000s. I mean, to be a Warrior fan, guys, it's something great. I mean, I've explained it in my video before. I will leave a little annotation for it over here, right there. Just click on the little button right there, and you will see my what it's like to be a Warrior video. But because this is the last year of Oracle Arena that the Warriors are going to be playing, and they're going to be moving to the Chase Center the next year, this is a game that this is a series that I expect all of us, and when I say all of us, I mean fans included, you guys watching, if you're not a Warriors fan, if you're not a Raptors fan, or if you are one or the other, just watch it, soak it in, because this could be history right here, guys. This could be something you're watching you may not see for a long time. For myself, for example, like, this might be the last time I see KD in a Warriors jersey. This could be the last time I see Klay Thompson in a Warriors jersey. I mean, who knows? He's a free agent this year, so we don't know what's actually going to happen with him. But it's going to be something that I'm just going to sit there, I'm going to watch, I'm going to take it in as much as possible as a true fan, as a basketball fan. Like, I'm going to enjoy the game as what it is. It's a game, it's a basketball game. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes on outside the game that we're perfectly aware of, that these guys are perfectly aware of, but inside those lines, you're a fan, you're a player, and you want to have the best experience as possible. But in saying that, guys, I am the Concerned Sports Fan. Don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to turn on post notifications, share the video. Let's get those numbers up. I will leave my social media links down below. Let me know who you think is going to win the NBA championship this year. Will this be the Warriors' last championship for a long time? Will they continue the success in the years after? I mean, I say Warriors in 6. That's what I believe. Warriors in 6. So, without further ado, guys, like I said, like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and I will see you guys in the next one, and I'm out.